So this work has evolved obviously from just a simple Rolfing type model from the structure 10 session work that Erik was doing with Ida Rolf, and then it evolved into osteopathic manual therapy through him just studying with Dr. Philip Greenman, and then it's advanced even more into that from just learning from Vladimir Yanda's approach, which was the upper cross and the lower cross syndrome. And so we've kind of melded these worlds together at first, and that's where we started. And it was real kind of black and white. You know, you do this technique for this problem, you do this technique for that problem. But now we're evolving into the neuroscience, which is huge in the biopsychosocial aspect, which is one affected by culture, upbringing, value systems, the way you look, unfortunately, the way you smell, unfortunately, the way you present yourself, the way your language is. And so now we have this whole new area of therapy that we've been integrating into manual touch. So not only are we communicating with our verbal speech and our appearance and what we look like as our profession, but also when we touch somebody, what our hands feel like on that person. Do we have jiggly hands? Are we nervous? Are we confident in our touch? Do we know how to touch? Do we break barriers with touch? Or do we meet the barrier and wait? And so that's where we're at now. So we're really adding these techniques, and then we're also working with a lot of the biosocial aspects. And so we're seeing huge leaps of just relief for people and just really hitting dysfunctions at a different level. And a lot of it obviously we know is placebo. So we do get a big placebo effect from just being clean, right? And being presentable and being professional. So, you know, that's one big thing that we never really looked at before, but all the new research is pointing to it. So we got to pay attention, and we got to follow the research. And that's what makes it so exciting, because it's changing. And we're not scared to say where we get stuff from. And I think as any professional, you know, we've all learned from greats, and I've learned from great people in my life, and I think that's one of the things that we also bring to the table is this is not our own. And we don't say it's our own, we say where we got it from, and we would love for you to incorporate it into your work. So that's the big take home, I think, with that. Really an easy definition of is it's really working with the nervous system to see what the regulatory control problems might be with the muscular system. So the brain is regulating the muscular system through the nerves, and so we want to know what is the signal, what is the biggest significant lesion, we call it a lesion or a dysfunction in the body, and it's usually in the form of a strain pattern. Okay, what's a strain pattern? It's a movement that we do or a situation that we're in a lot. It's repetitive, and the brain ingrains it in here and learns it. So when we see these, they're exposed in the body through the muscular system. And that's what we're really looking for, and we show a way to break that down through upper cross and lower cross techniques, and then we get into the extremities last.
I had a conversation a couple of weeks before I did my first workshop with Erik with another teacher, and they were talking about the importance of professionalism, and they said that they were very disappointed. They had attended a workshop, and I think the person said something inappropriate or maybe used some profanity or something that highly offended them. And they're like, you know, professionals shouldn't do this. And I think it's really interesting to see how Erik teaches that he creates such a relaxed environment. He can joke with people and have a good time. So the first time I went to see Erik, having had somebody talk about how important how you talk to your client is, and you must be strictly professional all the time. Don't get too relaxed in your manner, you know, maintain this professional boundary. And you see Erik, who is, to my mind, in my experience to date, probably one of the greatest teachers, one of the best professionals there is in the industry at the moment. And to see him do the complete opposite and make it work really well, use it to create a relaxed learning environment.
What I really love about Erik is that he keeps on just taking us along, and he's created an amazing family of teachers and just people that bounce ideas off of each other, and we just work very well together. He's constantly, he gets back to us on everything. He takes us along with everything. He's very generous with his time, with taking care of us. So, I mean, what I basically can say about Erik is he's a very kind man, and he wants to do the best job that he can, and he constantly is working. So Erik, I mean, he's Erik. He's a funny man. He's hard to read in the beginning, but I just want to say that he really wants everybody to be able to get more information.
But I just love to watch him dance because he's an old drummer, you know, back in the day. So he was in a band called the Flying Burrito Brothers, and he was a drummer. So he's really kind of quirky, you know, and he's a good drummer. He's good with his hands, but if you get him out on a dance floor and just to watch him dance, he's got that old 60s style dance, you know, that's really kind of funny. So the head bob and stuff, you know, and all this little stuff. And he's kind of all over the place. But we were in Costa Rica one time, and we teach a seminar down in Costa Rica. And so we go to this little casino, you know, we're all kind of hanging out there, and we've got, you know, a Latino band up on the top playing, and they're all doing salsa out on the floor. And here goes Eric. Eric's had a drink or two. He goes out there, and he's doing his little 60s style dancing out there on the floor, and all these like salsa dancers and Latino people are going, what is this gray-headed guy doing out here, you know? So those are just some of the funny moments that we have with Eric. But
so Eric tells a story about when he met Philip Greenman at Michigan State University. He was at a book signing, and he didn't know a lot of the people. He had only met Dr. Greenman very, very briefly. And you know, he was super nervous, just hanging around, and Dr. Greenman approached him and you know, offered to sign his book, made him feel very at ease, you know, was just very affable. And so, you know, it's interesting, it parallels my story just a little bit. When I met Erik, I was extremely nervous, you know, I was, you know, just kind of a little starstruck, trying not to say the wrong things, and you know, he was extremely nice to me, just made me feel really at ease, and you know, it was really, really valuable to me, you know, also to hear him tell the story and to know that, you know, he was also just kind of, you know, a nervous therapist at one point, you know, just trying to expand his knowledge and you know, learn a little bit more and you know, get a bigger tool set.
I'd say the first time I met him, I was just blown away because he's a down-to-earth individual. I mean, this guy's brilliant, he's a genius, but he's so humble and so kind. He's willing to help everyone, and I found that to be endearing. I just was drawn to it. The first workshop that I attended, I didn't feel intimidated at all. I felt like he really was there to help people, and it impacted my life.
Just a real guy. You know, he's real. You know, there's nothing put on about Erik. He gives his heart out to what he does, and so yeah, I enjoy that part of him. It's not put on. You know what I mean? And I think everyone gets that same feeling.